What protocols and products does Systemic Formulas have to make sure that we can do the gut right? Systemic Formulas has products to help in this category of gastrointestinal health. No better person to have with me to discuss this on how they've implemented this in their practice than Dr. Kylie Burton here with me today. So I appreciate you being here to actually discuss what your strategies have been as a newer customer and how you've made this work. I want you to walk through your processes and how these products have better helped your patients with gut issues.
Gut is like the number one concern out there. There's so much information about how crucial the gut is when it comes to the body. And if you've noticed, like I have noticed, your patients come in saying, well, I've already done gut health and I've worked with so-and-so or I've Googled and I've taken care of my gut already. But you'll find out, if you don't already know, like I have discovered recently, is that people don't do the gut right. And when it comes to systemic, you can do gut right. I always start off with gut destruction. I want to just destroy. And I use muscle testing kits to find out if they have parasites or fungi or bacterial overgrowth. But you can also use labs. Cyrex is a great lab for gut treatment and gut, really getting down to the details of the gut. But if you don't want to spend the money on the labs, you can do the muscle testing, and always just start off with destroying, because I can guarantee, like you have understood or come to know, there is some overgrowth happening, which is what we need to take control of first before we can start reseeding and replenishing and healing. So I call it gut destruction, and my patients love it, because when they hear the word destruction, they know that they're doing something. They're actually destroying the bad guys inside the gut, and that's all I say is we're just going to destroy the bad guys first before we can start healing and replenishing. And with that gut destruction, I use VRM 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have both capsules and liquid on hand. The capsules are important for people who just like to take the capsules. The liquids are important because if you have someone who is sensitive, that's when I go for the liquids. I have a patient, in fact, who we have been through the ringer together. She was the very first patient that walked through the door, and I could not have imagined everything that could go wrong in treatment. But her body rejects supplements if she takes them orally. And we've had testing done. We've ruled out leaky gut and leaky brain and rotavirus. We've ruled out a lot of stuff that you would have just assumed that was taking place. But what I actually do is I have her do the VRMs 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 together. So 1 and 3 in the morning, 2 and 4 at night. And she puts them on the bottoms of her feet, or else like inside her belly, like puts the drops inside the belly button. That's where we can avoid those sensitivities when she takes things orally. And because it's liquid, you have options, which patients also love. When I did this to myself, I took them orally. I did not start low and go slow. I jumped right into the full dose of all 4 of them, and wasn't very pretty. So start low. When I do liquids, I do 1 and 3 together, 2 and 4 together, 2 drops of each time for the first 10 days, and then pause for 5 days. So it's a 10-day on, 5-day off cycle. That second round with the drops or the capsules, either one, 4 drops, or I believe it's 2 capsules. So we start off with 1, 2, 3 capsules, and then 2, 4, 6 drops. And that is such a therapeutic dose that they really see benefit. And then I use muscle testing to determine how many rounds they need, whether it's 3 rounds or 5 rounds or even 6 or 7. I love the VRMs 1 through 4. And then the other thing you can add with it is the WO oil. WO oil, I love to tell people, rub this oil on the bottoms of your feet. And when you do that, I want you to tell yourself positive affirmations, because it's a Chinese healing oil. So I don't know the reason behind it, but I know that it works. And I just tell people, get your mind right when you're adding this on. And so when they put it on their body, they literally are telling themselves, I can get better, I can do this, whatever it may be that is preventing them from living the life they deserve. they're going to think that they can, they will, and then what life is going to be like, and you can break through that mental barrier as well as the physical barrier at the same time. So add in WO oil to the VRMs 1 through 4, and that just really helps the body handle all the detoxification and all the parasite destruction. And when you destroy, you have to add in bind. I don't add in bind the first round just so they feel like I'm not giving them a ton of supplements at one moment. I let their bodies handle round 1 on their own, and then I ask them, okay, how did you feel on those 10 days? Whether it be their skin was breaking out a little bit more than normal, or they had 2 minor headaches, something. Those are the most common things that I see. Then we can add in bind. And what bind does is that binds to all of the toxins that are being released by destroying the parasites, the fungi, all that stuff that houses the toxins. Now it's getting out into the system, and bind will take care of it. So that's gut destruction 101.
So as they go through the gut destruction 101, whether you've deemed it appropriate for them to go through 3 cycles or 4 or 5 or 6, and so on, and they go through these emotional breakthroughs and also physiological breakthroughs.
Yeah.
What are some of the common symptoms that people get over time as they go through these cycles?
The most side effects I see happening from the VRMs and the destruction are the 2 things I just mentioned, the headaches and the skin detoxing, really. And once you talk to them about, okay, now we just need to support the detox pathways, which is why I let them go through round 1 first on their own. And then they can see the need for adding bind in. So I don't have to, it's not a hard sell for me. I just say, hey, that skin breakout or those headaches or any other type of detox reaction can be taken care of with this. And we're going to start off with 2 capsules at night. Oh, by the way, I didn't know this at the beginning. When you give bind to somebody, it needs to be taken by itself. Don't take prescriptions, don't take other supplements within a 2-hour before block and a 2-hour after block. So the best time I've found for patients to take bind is to do it at night, right before they go to bed. So then they just have to abstain from anything from 2 hours beforehand, and then they're clear at bedtime. And we jump that 2 and 4 VRMs into the afternoon. So we just alter things a little bit with that. But just so you know, because I didn't know this, bind needs to be taken by itself. But the most common side effects are little minor detox reactions that bind can easily take care of. And the more severe the reaction, the more bind you're going to need. And you can always monitor it with your patients and up the dosage as necessary. I believe the serving size is 4.
Yes.
I start off with 2 and I work my way up to 4 and possibly even 6 or 8 if necessary. Especially as the more destruction happens, the more toxins are being released into the system. And you don't want those guys floating around. So
the activated charcoal is extremely potent in bind, along with fulvic acid, humic acid. You have Cascara sagrada, flax fiber, apple fiber, Bacillus coagulans, which is a shelf-stable probiotic. So there's these other compounds that really help with the gut motility, and to really, because that's the goal, is to help secrete the toxins.
Then the next step, once you destroy everything, you got to go heal. And that would be where the leaky gut healing stage comes in hand. There are a couple things I use with leaky gut, Vista 1 and 2, L-Gut, of course, because there's nothing like L-Gut on the market, and MBC, start reseeding with MBC. Then the other one is fiber and Z-gluin. So there's 5 I think I just mentioned there. Start off, if they don't want to start off with a heavy dosage or a plethora of supplements, I always do L-Gut for sure, Vista 1 and 2, and that would be my top 3. Throw in fiber as necessary and roll. Now they're feeling like they've moved on to step 2, to phase 2 of gut, and you're going to keep them there for 2 to 4 weeks, anywhere up to 8 weeks. I've had someone stay on L-Gut with muscle testing for 12, but everything else she's been able to rotate off of. L-Gut literally provides everything the body needs to heal that gut lining.
Tell me a little bit more about how you make that determination with regards to when they should start with L-Gut. or the leaky gut product and the reseeding products.
Once you're done with gut destruction, whether you've used labs to determine it or you've used muscle testing, once the body clears that you've done enough gut destruction, then you move directly into the leaky gut and heal. And that's when you can see a lot of the inflammation going down. And then I also talk about diet at this phase. I don't talk about diet first off. We go into diet in the leaky gut phase, and I usually put them on an anti-inflammatory diet. And I tell them to pick a 21-day period where they can complete that and not cheat. So gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and sugar-free would be my anti-inflammatory diet that they take or they complete along with the leaky gut protocol. The final stage is the reseeding or the replenishing of the microbiome. And then it's really important to cycle your probiotics. I didn't know that before I met with Systemic. And the doctors that I met there, both at the conference and then through my mentor. If you can rotate probiotics, people will love the fact that they're always progressing. They don't need to stay on the same probiotic forever. So what I do is I start off with ABC, then I move into MBC, and then the neuroprobiotic. If you want to throw in the prebiotic as well, the neuropre and probiotic go really well together, as well as the EC or the ecovirome. I use those four and I just rotate them through, and people love that. I love it as a clinician. Patients love it from their perspective. And then you just add on whatever next step you're going into, whether it's hormones or liver detox or whatever's next in their path. Always keep that recycling of the probiotics throughout the entire time.
Wonderful.
Good variety.
That is, yeah. Diversity is really important.
Yes. And I would have never, coming right out of school, I didn't think cycle things. I thought, oh, let's just stay on NBC or let's stay on whatever probiotic I was using at the time. But now I cycle, and I've had much better results with it.
And what do you think are the main reasons for cycling? What are the main benefits that a patient will receive when they cycle, rather than staying on the same product indefinitely?
One, it's a mental benefit because they always feel like they're progressing, which is perfect. But also when you talk to them about the importance of a diverse microbiome, then they realize that even though they probably have probiotics on the shelf, they don't need to throw those away at home. But if they feel like I'm going to go through all of these four, I'll throw in whatever's left of that, whatever they had on their shelves, just so they feel like, one, I'm not constantly selling, and two, they can use whatever they have, so it's not going to waste. But then they're going to get on Systemic stuff and realize the difference in the way that they feel overall, and the way that, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, I mean, the microbiome hits all of it. So it just depends on the patient on what they're going to feel like. But as long as you have the mental state there where they can just continue to progress, that's the biggest key.
Thank you for chiming into this video. We've been here with Dr. Kylie Burton sharing with you these gut health strategies. Take a look at this closely and see how you can implement this into your practice as well for your patients.